Mike, it's been a minute, brother.
Man?
I remember you from I don't even know how long ago. And
many moons ago.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, Mike Van Wyck disappeared. Before we talk about what happened, though, before we talk about why, because I know you turned pro. What year did you turn pro?
2009.
2009. So it had to be before. So let's go back first because, I want to know Mike Van Wyck before bodybuilding. You're obviously Canadian. What part of Canada are you from?
I'm from Toronto. I grew up in Toronto and kind of lived here. And then I went to, I got a scholarship for football. And I went down to the University of Rhode Island, played football down there. And then I made my way back up here.
Back to Canada.
Slowly.
So now you're back in Toronto?
Yeah. I've been after I left college, I stayed for a year in Rhode Island and I competed at my first bodybuilding show was in New England, like in Boston. It's Jay Cutler Classic now, but now it's like it used to be New England Bodybuilding Championships.
I remember that, yes.
Yeah, so I did that. Did miserable the first show because I had no idea what I was doing, and not that I ever knew what I was doing. But
what do you mean?
The first one, I really didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. When was it? When was your first show? What year was it?
I want to say it was 2005 or 6. I forget which one it was. I think it was 5.
So it's pretty late. So how old are you?
Because I graduated college then.
How old are you now?
I'm 42 yesterday.
Just happy belated birthday, my brother. 42. So you're still young. No wonder. So you
tell
start.
my body that it doesn't feel that young.
but you holding on to your size though. Are you still trying to be big, or you just?
Yeah. No, it just kind of happens, to be honest. Like I got down to, like before COVID, I do bodyguard work, I do security work. So I was traveling a lot over the years, and I was just kind of whatever size I was, and I was more into boxing. So I was down to like probably 260, 270. And for me, that felt like light, which is like not light at all. But, and then I got back into bodybuilding, and my body just kind of went back to where it was.
So where you at right now?
I think I'm around like 302, 301.
So you're tall, right? I remember you were a taller guy, right? How tall are you?
Yeah, I'm like 6 foot. If I'm lucky, 6'1" with good shoes on.
with slight heels.
Some of these shoes in the background.
That's awesome. Because I remember when you competed. I don't remember what show it was, but I remember you were one of the earlier pros in Canada that I remember from back in the days.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of great pros that were around before me. Like when I first moved back to Canada, Fuad and Ben Mikulski were like the guys, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
When I came back, I was always looking up to those guys because they had kind of ascended to the pro level and come up in the Canadian system and whatnot. So they were always guys that I looked up to kind of see where I needed to be kind of moving to. And then it just worked out that I ended up winning my pro card. And first time I tried the Nationals, which was a shock to me because I was not expecting to win at all. I was like,
Are you talking about the Canadian Nationals?
Yeah, Canadian Nationals. Not quite the prestigious of the prestige of the U.S. Nationals.
Oh. So
big deal for us.
Right. So you got your pro card at the Canadian Nationals.
Yeah, in 2009.
2009.
It was in Vancouver. So,
how many pro shows did you do? Because I'm trying to remember what show it was I saw you.
Not a lot. I did in 2010. I did a New York Pro, and I got just absolutely spanked. But I needed to I'm one of those people. I need to kind of see what it is that I need, what I'm going to go against, or what I'm hoping to be. I got to see it to actually know what it is, even if it means getting my ass kicked, which I did, because I was kind of the same way with football, right?
Happened to all of us. Trust me, I was no different for me. My first show, I got my ass kicked so bad I wanted to give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't far behind you on that thought, but I was.
And it was also in New York. It was also New York, but for me, it was the Night of Champions.
Oh yeah, well, geez, that was the biggest show back in the day.
Yeah.
That was kind of my memory of that kind of show, like New York Pro kind of was always had that prestige to it. And so I was like, like obviously I'm not going to do these higher shows, but I might as well just jump into a show that I know, like when I walked in there, it was like Rolly's first show as a pro. And I was looking at him like, what the fuck is that?
That was the year Rolly won the New York Pro, when he was in crazy condition. I remember.
Oh my God. I was telling someone about this the other day on another podcast. Like I was standing there watching him backstage pump up, and he was with his the old trainer,
grandma. Yeah.
And he was like, his face was like sucked in, like he was chewing on his own mouth, like he was like, and she was like, he's like, can I have some water? I heard him like, he's like, the water, and she's like, no. He's just like, you can tell he was just trying to find some type of like liquid to like, and just stand there. I was like, and I looked at him, I was like, man, I'm nowhere near.
I'd always say still to this day, I always say, if he brings that condition with the size he has today, he wins the Olympia.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, like, I mean, I know he's put on a lot of size over the years, and it's crazy impressive what he can do with that, like that, put on that kind of muscle, right? But it's almost like I kind of liked it when he was a little smaller. When I walked backstage and I saw him stand there, like between him and Dennis Wolf and a few of the other guys that were there, I was just like, what? Like, okay, now I might as well just go home. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I want to just wheel my damn bag back out the door and go back to my hotel. But like, it was just so impressive, man. Like, because I've always been like a massive fan of bodybuilding. I was never someone who was like, I was thankful to be there, man. I shook everyone's hand. It was nice to meet everybody. Like, I remember seeing Eric Fankhauser. We were both with Animal. I was with Animal after that, but he was with Animal then. And that guy's legs, I was like,
the calves. I remember his calves.
Yeah, like I was like, I'm never gonna have legs even half that good. Yeah. What am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know, for whatever reason, I thought his calves were more impressive than his legs.
Yeah, it was just the whole lower body. It was just like, it was something out of this world.
Because it was always the talk between his calves and Ben Pakulski's calves. Because both these guys had calves that was unbelievable.
Well, I'd kill for half of their calves, each one of them. So.
Me too. Me too. So what happened? Why just a short career?
I did the New York Pro, and I like I said, I got my ass handed to me. Not that I was like in competition to beat these guys, but like I kind of just saw what I needed to do.
Right.
I was like, man, like I got a long way to go. Because like, and I know, like I looked up to you when I was coming up. I looked up to guys like you and Flex and Dorian and Paul Dillette. Like, it's just a different level, man. Like the level of muscle that you carried when you were competing, even you carry now, like that density is just something you don't.
Yeah, but if you think,
you don't just get that.
But if you think about it, you were still young, man. That's like, we're talking like you're like what, 30, 31.
Yeah, so like I came back the next year and I did the Toronto Pro. I ended up getting food poisoning like the night before the show. Like literally, and I was already diuretic, which was a stupid idea to begin with, but I was on top of that throwing up. Violently.
Yeah, you almost killed yourself.
Yeah, so I made it to prejudging and I made it to second call out. Don't even remember being on stage. I have no clue where I was. I was just out there.
Yeah.
And then the next day I woke up and I was trying to eat. I was trying to like get nutrients back into me and electrolytes, but I just physically could not eat. Like my stomach would not.
It wouldn't even stay down.
Food.
Yeah.
Like it would stay down, but I would have like 2 bites of something and I was done. Yeah. Like I was so stuffed I had to lay down. Right. So I had these 2 bad experiences and I was just, I mean, it wasn't anyone's fault but my own. And I don't blame anybody, and I don't hold like, I'm not like resentful towards bodybuilding or anything. It's just, I didn't know, like, that's why I say to a lot of people, like, I wish I had the knowledge of the guys have today. Like the guys of today, the knowledge they have and the access they have to these people who are geniuses when it comes to the sport, right? It's like, I didn't have that back then. It was just me and my buddy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
So it was like, we're just kind of going off of like, this works and this works and this worked for this. You know what I mean? We did this last time. Let's try it again.
Kind of like a trial and error. Yeah.
I did. Sorry.
Kind of like a trial and error.
Yeah. So it's just. Yeah. So I just after that fiasco at the Toronto Pro, when I ended up not making it to the finals, I had to go to the hospital and get like a couple bags of fluid put in me, and it was just a mess. I kind of just like sat back and like, I'm really honest with myself in life. And I kind of understood like, man, maybe this isn't like, one, I'm not making a lot of money because I'm dedicating all the money I am making to this sport.
Mm-hmm.
I'm training people, I'm bouncing, I'm doing club security, I'm doing all this stuff, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I need to kind of reevaluate and maybe just take a little bit the plan was to take a little bit of time and like get some money and like get my life kind of going in a better direction so I could come back to this sport and it wouldn't be such a financial burden to me because I would be in a better spot to be able to compete, right? And afford what I need to afford and do all the stuff we need to do to compete. And it just kind of like one thing led to another, and I just found my way out of the sport.
So that was so it was 2 shows as a pro. That's it.
Yeah, and then but the issue that also happened was that after the Toronto Pro where things kind of fell apart, I was sponsored by Animal at the time,
mm-hmm.
and I went to the Olympia that year, and they asked me if I would do because I've done 200-pound dumbbell presses on like video before for MD and everything like that, and they wanted just an event for like the cage, the mini cage.
Right, I remember the cage. So like,
yeah. So it was just like a mini one at the Olympia, and they were like, "Oh, we want like a demo. Would you do the 200-pound dumbbells at the Olympia at the expo?" And I'm like, "Okay." Like, I mean, like,
we talking dumbbell? Are we talking dumbbell shoulder presses or bench a bench press?
No, dumbbell incline press.
Okay.
Yeah, dumbbell incline presses. So I said, yeah, I would try it. And I was in Toronto where a lot of gyms don't have 200-pound dumbbells. So I was just trying to like work with 170s, 150s, mm-hmm. kind of get back into the groove because I hadn't done it in a bunch of years, right? So I ended up going down to the expo. I got sick on the plane ride down there. I pinned both my shoulders before I left for the expo because I'm a meathead and thought like, oh, I need to do more juice before I get to the expo because I'm an idiot. So
people always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
I'm sure a lot of people watching can identify with that.
Yeah, and you know, I really like your honesty because this is what comes across as real, you know, real. So you try to increase some shoulders width, or? I mean,
no, I was just like in my mind. I'm like, if I got more shit in me, I'm going to be pushing harder. I'm going to be, you know, what I mean? It's stupid. It's like the dumbest shit ever. But so I went there and I woke up that day and I was like, this little like voice in my head was like, just kept being like, Ian, like we don't want to do this. Like, let's not do this. I was just feeling like shit. And I've already had issues with my pec prior to like this incident, which is about to happen at this expo. So I'm like having problems with my shoulder already. So whatever, I went through with it. I did the 150 pounds for a warm up. And then there was nothing in between the 150s and the 200s. So they're like, oh, do you want to do the 150s again? I'm like, no, I don't want to waste my energy. I won't be able to get twos. So I'm like, fuck it, give me the 200. So I kicked them both up, and I've never dropped a weight kicking it up in my life. I kicked it up, and I went to turn open, and I dropped the right hand dumbbell, and I was like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, that's strange.
And I'm like, this is fucking retarded. And I'm like, oh, I got my belt on. This is the problem. So I'm like, take my belt off. So they're like, oh, so I remember I was like rocking with the dumbbells to get like momentum to swing back. In my head, I was like, it's a fucking bad idea.
You know it's bad.
Like, I can vividly remember this, like as clear as day, like in my head, like this little bitch voice being like, stop it, don't do this. I'm like, and I'm like, so I kicked it up, and as soon as I turned open with the right, boof.
Tore your pec.
It just tore my pec. Like I tore the muscle apart. I didn't tear the tendon off the bone. I literally ripped the muscle. Like, so I dropped it. Obviously, I was like, whoa, because it just felt like I felt something release, right? So I'm like, oh. And the dude from Animal, I don't even know who it was. It was like, because they're fucking awesome guys, but he like powerlifters, right? They're like, oh, you just cramped it. It's like just a little pull. This dude takes my arm and starts pulling it back. like stretch it out, man. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh,
grabbing my
man.
chest, like I can feel the hole. I'm like, no, don't
Yeah. So
they're
some.
like, no, man, just sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off. Something told you don't do it. You know.
No, it's yeah, like I was just in my head, like I should have listened. I should have been just punked out of it and been like, yeah, I'm not doing it today. I mean, but
did you feel good on the 150s?
Oh, I felt amazing.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, oh, like maybe I needed to like get out of my own head. So, but the 200s was just too much.
Yeah.
I think it was just like it wasn't that the 200s did something like violent that day to me where I just tore it. It was just ready to go.
They were ready to go.
It just needed the right movement or the right angle, and just it went right.
That's what I always say.
Like I said, I had problems. Yeah, I had problems from football because I had when I played at University of Rhode Island. They never told me. I found out in my senior year that I had a torn labrum in my shoulder. So they didn't tell me that. I saw it on my chart. So I still had limited mobility in my shoulder from football anyway, right? So I'm sure like over time, bad movement patterns and just like too much weight and just wearing down, it just went, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just so happened it did it on like a fucking very public stage.
Yeah, right at the Olympia. Cage surrounded by people. Yes, I remember. That was an attraction, the cage at the Olympia. Yeah. So did you got surgery after that?
The best thing too is it was the first. Yeah, well, I waited actually. I came home to Canada and got a couple of MRIs done, and they were just like, "Yeah, you need to get surgery." And they're like, "It's not an emergency because in Canada we have like universal health care, right? So they're not rushing you in to get things." So they're like, "Oh," and then I waited till I think November almost before I did something about it, and then I got this decent doctor, and he did what he did, but my shoulder has just been a mess ever since, right?
Yeah. So
just kind of worked around it.
So was that also the reason, a little bit of a reason for you not competing anymore, because you knew you can't give it 100%?
No, I had my whole incentive to get myself going again was the fact that I was like, oh, I want to get on stage. I don't want this injury to ruin me, right?
Okay.
So I had that incentive, but then like as I was coming back from that, I kind of just had that's when I kind of started thinking like maybe I need to get my ass in gear and kind of get a life established here. So I'm like, you know what I mean? Like,
right. So
I preach to a lot of guys, like they got to think about life beyond this sport, and this sport has to be something that like
I'm glad you mentioned
you do
that.
for fun.
Right.
Yeah, it has to be something you enjoy. It can't be something you're relying on, man, because it's like the odds of this coming through for being something that's going to really lead to something in the end there's small fractions, man. It's like guys who playing football in high school thinking they're going to play in the NFL. Like odds are you're not.
Right. So when did you decide, ultimately make the decision? It's like this, I'm done with competitive bodybuilding, there's no more?
I mean, I never declared oh, I'm never doing this again. It's just I got more into training people. I helped a buddy of mine, Jerome. He won the Canadian Nationals in I think 2000 and I want to say 12 or 13. I forget what year it was, but and an ex-girlfriend of mine, I helped her turn pro. So I was like, I really enjoyed coaching people and helping people and kind of changing their outlook on the way they should be training and their movement.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that I found I got a lot more satisfaction out of that than I even did doing it myself. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. That's what I wanted to talk about you now, because you transitioned into one of Canada's well-known coaches, and I see a lot of videos. You are very hands-on. So just to let everybody know, Mike is officially not retired yet, so there might still be a chance we'll see him on stage.
Yeah, don't hold your breath.
So, because I know you work with a lot of guys that are still competing today. I mean, Regan Grimes, you trained. I see videos with I don't want to mess up his name. Antoine,
yeah.
Quentin, the Beast who just got second.
Yeah.
At the Toronto.
Yeah.
That's
questionable in my eyes, but
I thought it was. I thought so too. I think it was close, But I can only judge pictures for what I saw in a little bit of video. He just looked more polished to me. He just looked like he was more like a statue. He was, the other guy was probably a little bit bigger, shorter. But I think that Quentin had
Joel looked great.
Yeah,
he looked great, and his condition was like dry as like nails. You know what I mean? But
see, I didn't see that on the pictures.
It just comes down to what the judges prefer.
Yeah, I didn't really see that on the
I
pictures.
guess it just comes down to what the judges they're looking for.
How did you see it?
Yeah, Joel was hard.
How did you see it though? Try not to be biased.
Well, I'm biased, so.
Yeah, but if you look at it from an expert opinion now, is it okay? Are we delayed again?
Yeah, it's delayed a bit. It's okay. It's catching up. No, I mean, I see why they went with who they went with, but like, if I was a judge, I would have had it with Quentin winning, just because my eye goes towards a fuller, like rounder, like nice aesthetic, and like the lines. I'm more concerned with like the lines, how blowing someone out is, like how round and full they are. But I mean, those judges, I think that they were kind of looking, because I kind of looked as the show was going on, you kind of see that the people that were more conditioned or like drier were kind of getting the nod over people who might be a little more full and rounder and have that prettier physique. So I understand why they did what they did, because that's maybe what they're going for at this show. But like I said, I would have given it to Quentin all day. Yeah,
I think it could have went either way, because there was a final call out with both of them where they put them right next to each other and just compared them. And I watched some internet outlet where I saw some of the pictures, and I think a short video where it was very hard to judge. But from what I saw, for me, it was the same. My eyes went straight to Quentin, and it was just, that he had that look that I appreciate maybe a little bit more than Joel. But it looked to me like Joel was, because he was shorter, he looked like he was bigger, size-wise. So I don't know. I don't know if that's
just very like very packed.
Yeah,
like, muscles very packed and like dense and in a tight frame, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Quentin's like, he's still growing into that frame, so it's very like open, but it's a very pretty shape.
I didn't even know he was that tall.
Yeah, well, I think he's about my height. He's about 6 foot. So.
Oh, somebody said he was like 6'2".
Yeah, he's probably taller than me.
Yeah, wow.
By, I think an inch or so around there.
Do you know his body weight?
Yeah.
On stage?
I don't know. I think I remember him saying, or someone saying, it was around like 257, around the high 250s.
Yeah.
Maybe it might have been a little higher. I didn't ask him on the day of the show.
Yeah.
He looked.
Now imagine this guy with the same shape, same symmetry at 280.
Oh my God! I tell him all the time. He doesn't want to hear it, but I tell him he's the next Ronnie. I tell him he's the next hybrid Ronnie.
He's got beautiful shape.
If he keeps doing what he's doing, and I've told him to his face, and he knows that I support him fully. Like, yeah, man, he's the next big thing in this sport. If he keeps doing what he's doing and just staying on track, he's going to be hard to beat, man.
So tell me about,
give him a few years. It's going to be real tough.
Right. Tell me about you training these guys. So you work with these guys on a daily basis, or they just come to you for some couple of sessions, or how do you work with those guys?
Yeah, well, it started with I started going to Pure Muscle, where everyone's training up here right now. I started going there just because I had known Dorian and I had known Antoine for a long time through competing and things like that. And I just wanted to go check out the gym. And I had trained Dorian and his brother a handful of times back in the day on just a couple back workouts, because I kind of became known for helping people like changing their movement with back and getting them to feel it a little better and to be able to like engage their lats and things like that. So they remembered that I had kind of shown them some stuff back in the day that they liked or it worked for them. So they asked me if I would help Antoine, because Antoine felt his back was lagging. So I offered to help him. Just like, I didn't think it would ever be like we'd be filming videos and doing this and that. It was just like, let's see how it works. And after I trained him a few times on back, he asked me if I would train him on chest. And then he's like, why don't I just train with you for this whole prep going into the Olympia? And so we just kind of hit it off, and people kind of started gravitating towards what we were doing. And then Dorian approached me about maybe working with Regan a little bit and working with Quentin and just helping these guys with different things. And it just kind of grew from there. Like I was never like, oh, I'm your coach and this is, you're a product of me. It's just like, no, it was just, if they needed help with stuff or like they'd hit me up, they'd be like, oh, can we do chest this week? Can we do back? Can we do legs? Then it kind of became like leg day kind of became a thing for a bit where it was like all three of them. And then guys would just come and go like based on their schedule. And it was never like, you know what I mean? I never want, and I tell them all the time, it's like, I'm not the reason you look the way you look.
Right.
Like you guys look that way and you're all three of you and other people I train too are genetically gifted and you work your ass off. Right. So if I can help in some way and I can come in and maybe make you understand like, oh, if I lift my chest a little more here, I change my hand angle or tuck my chin down, I feel more engagement. Mm-hmm. It's like if I can cause that to happen and I can help you become a better bodybuilder, then cool, man.
You're kind of like me. I feel the exact same way.
I was about to say like I remember vividly, I think it was 2 years ago before the Olympia when they had that whole like Ramy's in panic mode bullshit.
Yeah.
And they're like, and I remember I was talking to Antoine and I was like, and he was like, oh, we were looking at the video. He was doing like laterals. I think you were helping him from behind, just like forcing a couple of reps. And they were like, yeah, so what do you think? Cause he's lifting too light. I'm like, you guys, man. I'm like, you have no fucking clue.
Yeah. This is the thing. You know what we did? Oh, this is what I always do. Sometimes side laterals is one set. We'll start light and you increase the weight. Yeah. All the way to the top, and then you'll come back. You drop it again all the way down. That's one single set. So if people focus on the lightweight, they have no idea. You're absolutely right. Only people that know training, they know what that does to your body and your shoulders.
Yeah, it's like these people. Like I've talked to a lot of people like lately about this because I'll continue to say it. Like bodybuilding has become powerlifting, and I don't know how that's happened. It's like PRs and all this shit. Like. It's cool, man. Lift heavy weight, but like at the end of the day, you look the way you look, and you are one of the most blown dudes I've ever seen. Like just packed with muscle, and I guarantee you weren't writing down in your logbook how many fucking deadlift reps you got. And like, you know what I mean?
I know,
fuck all that, because that's not bodybuilding.
Yeah,
I hate to break it to everybody. Like it's cool. It's good for your ego, and it makes you feel because you can see a number increasing. Or a rep increasing, so you go, oh, I'm getting better, I'm getting stronger. But are you?
Yeah.
Because I don't think you are.
You're just like me. You are just like me, man. See, you feel the same.
Because I grew up like really looking at like how guys like you and how guys like Flex and Lee Priest. I watched how these people trained. I watched how they moved. Like me and my buddy Darren, who passed away unfortunately, used to train me. He used to be very like into like very like nuance based like. How is like we watch like you do or Flex or someone do like shoulder raises, lateral raises, like where are they starting their movement from? How are they coming up through things? Is the rib cage lifting? Is the trap tucking back? Where's the tension on the elbow? Like we'll look at the angle of the arm. Like it's all this stuff, right? And I understand like you guys like and people were lifting back then. It's like it was all like this. It was just trying to get as much blood to that fucking muscle as humanly possible. How fucking engorged and how pumped can I get that muscle I'm training and then get the fuck out of there?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
People nowadays, they don't seem to get that. Yeah. They don't get it. And like, if you don't cause that expansion and that pushing out against the skin and like engorging that muscle with blood, how do you ever expect it to look that way when it's not pumped?
True.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's mind blowing to me. I don't get it.
Who's the easiest guy to work with? Do you get guys like when you know because you're a bodybuilder too, you know what somebody needs to go through. Do you get it sometimes when you train with someone and you can feel he's not giving you everything, there's more in there but he's pretending that he's giving you everything? Do you get that sometimes?
No, I don't think that. But I do. I think, and you'll probably understand this as well because you've helped a lot of people. You can't push everyone the same. So you can't expect this person to train like that guy. but you can like understand that like maybe these guys are on different levels of intensity or ability, and it's just about getting them to like kick up a notch higher than they want to go. So it's like we can kick you in. If you're only cruising in fourth gear, we can get you up to fifth, and we can get you used to going there pretty quick. Then we can start to ascend, right? But it's like, to say someone's difficult to work with, it's like, no, like I find that a lot of people that I train have the same issues movement wise and a lot of ingrained bad habits. And that's what makes some people more difficult to train, because their habit, like, you know, just as well as I do, if you show someone a style of training and it fucking murders them and they're like, they can't take it, like drop sets, like whatever it might be, like you're doing ascending sets and then descending sets. It's like that person, if they're not used to that work and it kills them, right when they leave you, they're going to go back to doing their 3 sets of 10.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they don't have it in them to like push themselves to that point, right?
But that's why they come. That's why they come to you, because maybe the guys that do come to you, they come to you for a reason. And I think, and I believe it's the same with me. They come to me for a reason because they know they can't do it on their own. They wouldn't go. They wouldn't go to that point. That's why I believe to motivate someone to give it all. I mean, that plays a huge factor. People don't understand. Motivation is everything. You know, if you're not motivated, you will not go to that point where you can. I'm not even talking about failure, because I don't think failure is the most important thing. The most important thing is to get to that point where you are able to drive as much blood into the muscle as possible, whichever way you have to do it. You know, and I think the motivation is one of the most important things.
Yeah, it's also like making guys helping people understand that that's what's needed, right? And it's like, yeah, if you're not with me and we're not pushing, you have to understand that you have to get yourself above your own level on your own and start pushing a bit. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like this whole mentality of like every workout is my last workout. I got to like drain the tank all the time. It's like, there's going to be times when you don't do that. Yeah,
when you can't.
But you still need to like understand that I need to reach a certain level of this like intensity, and then I got to back off a bit. But it's way higher than my normal would be. So I'm just pushing more and more to be able to get more intensity on each workout I'm doing, whether it's with a trainer or with not. But it's just like having guys understand like you're gonna have to know how to do that on your own, because you can't just rely on like you or me or any other coach to like pull you along, right?
Right.
Because there's gonna be workouts when you're by yourself, and those are gonna be the workouts no one's watching, and those are gonna be the ones that count.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I find like a lot of guys, like I'm sure you see this because you've been around a long time like me, it's just like, it's almost like no one wants to like put this effort in unless the camera's there. And it's just like, I never had a fucking camera.
Me not either.
Like, and you probably only had a camera when it was like leading up to a show.
When there was a video, filmed. Otherwise, back then there was no social media.
Yeah, it's like every day now. It's like these guys walk in the gym and they're setting up a tripod by themselves.
I know, but that's because it's social media, though. Social media is forcing people.
And I get it.
Yeah,
I get it, and it's creating a lot of opportunity and a lot of attention on a lot of guys and making them some money and getting them known pretty well and stuff like that. But it's like, I just don't understand. Like, I would never want to be filmed for every workout.
Right.
I'd want to leave something up to the imagination, right? Like, what is this guy doing? What is he like? And I think that's the kind of the way that Quentin kind of approached this show, these 2 shows he did, because we spoke about it a lot in detail. Like he's not a guy who wants to be flashy and do updates every day and physique updates and posing. Like, and he kind of kept quiet. And he was catching a lot of shit for it. And he was kind of like, oh, you know, like, what's his deal? Like, but like, that's like old school mentality, man. Like,
right.
You know just as well as I do. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Like Dorian and yourself and like Flex, like, you guys are covered, man. Yeah. It's like you can see like this ripped forearm hanging out of a sweater and like
I'll be honest,
face, but we don't get to see it.
I'll be honest with you though. I was the first one that started to up the Brockers pictures. I was the first one.
Oh yeah?
And I'll tell you why. Because I had to. I had no option, because I was living in Thailand. So now, how am I being so far away from the sport? What can I do to create some kind of hype? And that's when I started, as soon as the internet came out, I mean, with dial-up, you know, we uploaded pictures. right after the gym, we got a good train. We trained, took some pictures outside of the gym. Those are the pictures I released. You know, it worked for me because it created a hype where people started, hey, wait, this guy's coming, and whoever this guy is that's flying in from Thailand, that dude's, you know. I mean, I never really looked on stage like I did in the pictures, but that's a different story. But that was my way of creating a hype, you know. But I think nowadays it's gotten to the point where it sometimes gets annoying for some people. It depends on who it is, you know. You can have some content that's interesting and that's fun, and sometimes it's just the same shit every fucking day, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't have.
How many day?
Go ahead.
How many day in the life videos can you film? Like.
Yeah, I don't have a YouTube channel. I don't have a YouTube channel because I don't want to have somebody running next to me whatever I do. And you know.
For good now.
Are we frozen? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay.
It was lagging.
So yeah, I'll just say that's why I do have a YouTube channel, but I don't do any videos. I just can't have somebody next to me in the camera in my face all day. Whatever I do, take a piss, you know, go to sleep, and you know, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. You know, I'm too old school for that. But I do understand some of the guys, because some of the guys make money with it. But there's most of them, they don't make a single dollar. It's just for 300 views. They put them videos out like everybody in the world needs to see it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get it on one side, but it annoys the hell out of me on the other because I see those people in the gym that set up a tripod. It takes them longer to get ready to set up the damn camera than doing 4 sets.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's like why? It's almost like why don't you try and accomplish something before you think people should give a shit about you? You know what I mean?
I think we will get along real well, brother, because you think just like me. I got that old school mentality. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So training all these guys right now, so I mean, you must be pretty busy in the gym, you know, and I admire that because I know it's not easy. It's hard work. So just not even lifting the weight, but training someone, you still got to be there. You still got to be alert. You still got to think, you know, and make sure everything is done correctly. How many hours a day you spend in the gym on an average?
To be honest, I balance this with other work, so I'm only training like maybe 2 or 3 people a day.
Okay.
Maybe 4 people a day at the max.
Yeah, that's still a lot.
So and a lot of the guys that I train, it's my goal to kind of like I said before, I want to empower these guys to because they have the drive and they have the willpower and they want to be at the gym and they already know how to train hard. Do you know what I mean? Like to a certain point.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
But it's like I just want to give these guys like the tools or like some little input where it's like we can take what you're doing to another level, where we can connect more with like a certain body part or understand that we need to pump more blood because we need to blow out this body part. You're not doing it enough, right? So it's just like that's my whole goal at the end of the day is to not I don't think anyone should ever have it be like, oh, I want this person to only train with me and they don't train with anyone else and they're solely dependent on me to get them anywhere, right? It's like no, I think like guys back in the day, like I'm sure you were the same, like going to the gym and training yourself and being in that zone on your own is kind of like it's like a release in a way, right? It's like your time. So it's like I don't want to be there barking instructions every 10 seconds because if you're not paying attention and I got to tell you the same thing 20 times every time we train shoulders, you're not fucking listening.
Right.
And this is a waste of my time because you should be picking this up and running with it. Do you know what I mean? So like if you come to me down the road or like, oh, we do shoulders again. Okay, well now your movement's a lot better with this. Why don't you try, now that you got this down, let's try and like understand that we're moving from our rib cage more. Or we're like lifting up through our chest more. Or play with your head position, things like whatever it might be, these little tiny things that like it's a little fix or a little tweak and then you send them on their way again, right? So
right.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys that I train at the gym, like depending on their schedules, like because they're pre-contest, they're off season or doing this and that, like they come and go as they need me and I'm more than willing to help anytime they they want to reach out. So
Right.
I never want guys to feel like they're like obligated. Like if you don't train with me, you're not training. It's like, no, man, you got all the tool. You got all the tools, man.
Yeah.
I'm just here to like push you in a certain direction that might be a little more beneficial to you.
Yeah. So what do you think about Reagan right now? Because you've seen him probably transition and transform from the years before to where he is right now. Where do you see Reagan going?
To be honest, I obviously knew about Regan like before I started helping him out, because like who doesn't know about Regan? But it's just like I see Regan as like he's basically unstoppable.
Kind of like a Quentin.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like, and it's the craziest thing to be in a gym with like these three guys like Antoine, Quentin, and Regan, who just their potential is like, it's like you're walking around with Ferraris. You know what I mean? Like I'm just changing your tires, telling you what might give you better grip on the road.
Put a little extra air in it.
Yeah, like I mean, like I'm going to wrap your car and make it look a little cooler. Like I'm not. At the end of the day, these guys are all specimens, right? And they all have the potential to just do so well, even if no one ever helped them. They would, and they look the way they do, and they train as hard as they do. It's like good things are going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why a lot of people with Regan going to train with Milos and doing what he was doing and leaving Dorian and kind of like doing that different training style or whatever it might be. It's like,
did you agree? Did you agree with that, or do you think that was a good move?
Yeah, I mean, him and Dorian spoke about it, and they were on good terms with it. It was a lot of people in the bodybuilding world who were making it appear like there wasn't like any discussion about it. So there was a decision those two guys made with each other, right? In terms of like the dieting and the way they were heading into a contest. Mm-hmm. I had nothing to do with that. I stay the hell out of that stuff. Right. I stay as far away as I can from contest prep. But it's just like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like if he needs that other voice, and he's more willing or to adhere to what that voice says, then he should try that, or he should go and do that.
I think it's absolutely a right thing to do, because he's still young. He wants to learn. And you see that he made a switch and things started changing immediately. So there's different.
And the thing is, like, you can't discount. Like, it's almost like people want to discount everything that happened prior to that switch.
No, you can't.
And they're just like, it's like, yeah, like all that muscle and all that talent and all that willpower and drive and all that, you know what I mean? That was already there. Mm-hmm. Like it didn't just magically appear and Milos took this and made it whatever. He just, like, Milos had a game plan. Regan adhered to that game plan, believed in that game plan. And there's no stopping a person like that once they get on a roll like that, and they get their mind focused on something, right? So,
I mean, it's got great genetics. Great genetics.
Oh god, fucking unbelievable. Like, that's like between him and Quentin and Antoine. It's just like, when I look at these guys, I'm just like, man, like, no wonder. Thank God I stopped. I was really delusional.
Yeah. Really? Really? How is it training with Antoine? I mean, Antoine is probably the guy who overcomes the most obstacles when it comes to bodybuilding.
There's no one that will out-train that guy in a million years.
Yeah.
Antoine is probably one of, like, the hardest workers that I've ever been around in terms of, like, just work ethic in the gym and, like, energy. Like, the dude does not stop. Like, if I told him, like, lunge fucking 5 miles and come back, he'd be lunging for 5 miles and coming back, right?
I'm just impressed with him going through all these injuries and coming back like it's nothing.
Yeah, like I've talked about it before. It's just like his mindset, right? And guys like at his level and his dedication and his talent, like, their mindset is just like, I tore my bicep. Go get it fixed. Come on back. You know what I mean? Like, I tore my bicep and I tore it again. Like, I got it repaired, and then I tore it again when I was boxing. And I just left that thing because I'm not trying to go through that again. I was like, I'm good.
Oh, really?
But so, like, when I see him, like, like you said, like, being able to overcome these obstacles, whether it be like the injuries or the issues he's had with substances, it's just like the guy's like the guy's like a light in the darkness, man. Like if you're around Antoine long enough, you'll understand like this is a special person, right?
I can feel it through his social media because he's open.
Yeah.
He's transparent. Yeah. I think he's one of the most transparent guys out there who not only reports good things, also when some shit goes wrong. You know?
Yeah. He doesn't, and that's the thing is he's very like how you see him on social media is exactly how he is in person. Mm-hmm. It's no different, right? So he's a super, super, super nice guy, and he's like very dedicated to the sport, and he cares a lot about the people around him, and he's just an all around good guy, man. There's nothing bad to say about Antoine. There's nothing bad to say about any guys that I train.
Yeah. What do you think this is the difference between bodybuilding back then and today? What do you think is the biggest change or the biggest difference that you realized?
I was actually talking about this before. It's like I don't know how to say this without pissing people off. But
listen, sometimes it's people. I don't think
it's like a double-edged. It's a double-edged sword, like we talked about before. Like all the guys nowadays have access to so much information that we didn't have access to, or insights that we didn't have access to, like guys from our time. And it just seems like they're almost like it's almost like analysis paralysis. Like you have so much information, you don't know what to do with it, and you're second guessing because there's so many options. It's like, well, I'm going to do this. Well, this is a little different than that, and then I'm going to do this, and then this, and it's like they don't know just how to stick to one thing. Mm-hmm. Listen to one voice, follow one style of training, give everything its time to develop and like show you what it can do, whether it's a coach, whether it's training style, whatever it might be, right? Like these guys are flip-flopping to all these, like you'll see like one guy will do a show 1 year with this guy, and then he's like this year this guy, and then he's like this guy. Like who's to say like if someone worked with you, maybe in the first year or 6 months, it's you getting them conditioned to like, okay man, this is kind of where we need to go, and this is the road you're on, and now that we've reached this point, now I can step on the gas. I can't step on the gas when I first get you because you're not ready for that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like these guys are almost robbing themselves of genuine results and like doing and really exceeding their expectations because they're not sticking with things long enough, and they're not giving things. They don't understand that like bodybuilding is not a 3-month sport. You do not get better in 3 months. You might get more conditioned, you might get like leaner, but like your physique and your development takes time, man. It takes a long time to develop. Like I don't even know like the amount of muscle guys put on in a year. Guys nowadays are putting on like 20 pounds in a year, which is fucking insane to me.
Yeah. What do you think the reason is?
Oh, I mean, I would assume it's the drug use and what they're doing, and like their dieting and everything that goes into it, getting with different prep coaches who have different kind of styles of doing stuff. And I'm sure that just the genetic is creeping up over time. Guys are just getting better and better. Like in every sport around the world, you just see people as time goes on, people are just better and better than guys were before. To be honest, I don't know. Like I don't get into like all the prep and all that stuff. Like I said, I'm just concerned with training, but I would assume that guys really need to like, cause I was stupid as shit when it came to doing drugs. Like I did a lot of testosterone. I did a lot of shit. Like I was on like 3 grams a week test and
3 grams.
Yeah. And I was pumping like fucking 4 or 5 anadrols a day, like back in my heyday. This is off season. This is just like not getting ready for show. Nothing, man.
So
it's just like, I want to get
So how much did you take more pre-contest?
No, I would actually lower my overall milligrams into a show, but obviously my compounds would switch up, right? So I was like a heavy. I'd always been taught since I started bodybuilding was like test is best. Get that fucking shit up as high as you can, and that you can tolerate, and let's try and grow like a weed, right? And kind of I would stay away from a lot of stuff in the off season. Where a lot of guys, like maybe I'd sprinkle in like a couple of weeks of D-ball or a couple of weeks of Anadrol or like little things here and there, right?
I like
just to like give myself.
I like how you say I sprinkle it in.
Yeah, like seasoning. But yeah. So my whole like that's why I was talking like these guys nowadays have access to like these great minds and these great people that can guide them. Like back then we were just like Well, if I could do 1,500 milligrams and I feel good, why don't I do 2,000?
Yeah. If you
see how that feels.
let's say, like, hypothetically, let's say you're going to do another show, would you do that again, or would you change it?
Oh no, I would get with someone who like I trusted would guide me in the right path, right? Like that's why I don't, like I said with the pre-contact stuff, I'm not going to be, people write me all the time, oh, I'm on this much of this much of this. What do you think of this? I'm like, I don't think anything of it. I'm not qualified to be telling you what to do when it comes to that.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you to do this and tell you to do that. And the next thing you know, you're fucked up. And it's like, oh, Mike said, you know what I mean? Like, I'll leave that to the guys who spend their time researching, spend their time like really focusing on that being their craft, right?
Right.
Whereas like you want to do whatever you're doing, get your ass in the gym, and I'll gladly kick it for you.
Right.
So
Right.
let's put those drugs to work, right?
Did you experience any side effects from your anabolic use that you know of?
No, I mean, I get blood work done pretty regularly now that I'm older, and my blood work's like good, especially considering what I did. I was honestly scared to get blood work done for a long time because I thought I really fucked myself.
So you didn't get blood work done for a while?
No, for a long time I didn't. I didn't start getting blood work done until I was like way done competing, because I was actually like, I don't recommend this to anybody, and no one should be like this. I just had reckless abandon. I didn't care.
But
I just want to get big.
But not only did you stop competing, but did you stop the gear and got blood work done, or you just continued? Or what do you do today?
No,
you do
when
TRT.
I do, like, yeah, basically. I mean, I might kick it up here and there. Like, if I kick in anything, it'll be like a little Primobolan, like very mild stuff. I don't do anadrols. I don't do Tren. I don't do any of this. I had no need for that. I've had enough nightmares on Tren, and getting arrested when I'm on Halo testing is not. I'm good. I don't need to do that anymore. So, yeah, I stay away from that. I mean, to be honest, I just want to. Nowadays, I just like to, like, you know the feeling I'm talking about when you're in the gym. You're not wasting time. Like, you feel something. There's a little bit of aggression. There's a little bit of a pump. It's not hard to get a pump. You know what I mean? You're feeling that like kind of full feeling. That's all I'm really looking for. I'm not trying to like break records or fucking max squat, I don't do all that.
Yeah, no. That's not necessary. It's not necessary. No. If you know you're not competing, for what? I don't even train, so I haven't trained in so long.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Looking like you just left the gym.
No. Listen. I'm the lightest I've been in probably 28 years. I'm down to, kilos. I'm down to 104. And I was always, until a few months ago, the lightest was like 110, 111. But my goal was to lose weight, and I could not lose weight, so that's why I cut my protein to only 3 meals a day with 4 ounces of meat, a protein a meal, and still my body was still holding on, and it was because I was training. And then since just before Rami arrived, I stopped training, and when he was here for the Olympia, I didn't train. I trained him, but I didn't train, and since then I'm losing weight, I'm losing muscle. So I've figured out a way to lose, and that's not training. Just do cardio and don't eat much.
Yeah, it's crazy though, because like you can, like, if you were, no one's going to believe that you don't train. Looking at you, you know what I mean?
I literally trained five times in the last 3.5 months.
Yeah, but like you can see, like even the structure is still there, right? Like the arms, the shoulders.
Yeah, I'm small for me, but of course for an average person, I still look like a bodybuilder. That's not going to go away so fast. I mean, I've been retired since 2010. Came back in 2012, so it's been a lot of years where I don't even pretend to be a bodybuilder anymore. But it's just there, I was never small. I didn't start it as a skinny guy, so I was always built. Even as a soccer player, or when I transitioned to breakdance, I was always the guy that had a muscular build. So I knew that I had the genetics, and I knew it's going to be hard for me to lose that muscle that I worked 25 years for, so it's not going away. Yeah. It's not going away in a year or two, so it's going to take some time. But I'm just quite a little bit older than you, so I'm 55. So there's no need for me. There's no need for me to be 250 or 260 running around. I have nothing to prove, and that's the way I feel right now. Yeah. And then with all the recent death, you see, they gave me another motivational kick to make sure to lose some more weight,
Yeah.
And what do you think about all this? What's going on with all these people dying around us?
Yeah, I think it's wild. I mean, it seems to have happened all of a sudden and coming on such a wave. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know what really to associate that with, but there's a lot of madness going on in the world right now, a lot of things going on. So it could be just, bad timing and unfortunate that all this is happening at the same time and kind of just coincidence, but it's tough to tell.
Yeah.
I don't really know. It's very sad though. It's very sad.
I think maybe people should, pay a little more, attention to and really want to find out why that is, because maybe it's preventable. Maybe that's something that other guys that are still there maybe can, apply to whatever they do and maybe save their life somehow. I had a talk with Ford a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and we brought that up, and we're trying to find a solution or talk about a solution that how we can get these guys, because there's a lot of guys that, like you just mentioned for yourself, that don't even get tested because they don't want to know. So there was, we talked about trying to find a solution to get some of these guys, almost force them, find a way to mandatory. Do blood work.
I've heard these arguments for this and stuff like that, but it's almost like, just as well as I do, because a lot of us bodybuilders are the same, especially at a certain age. And it's just about it's like blinders. So it's like, I just want to get big. I'm not projecting myself to be a 45-year-old version of myself and thinking to myself, what did I do back here that's got me in this predicament now? Right. So it's like, I understand we have to educate people. And I think if there's something that can be done to create that environment where guys have to be mandatory, have to hit requirements or get tested or whatever it is, or hit certain levels, I'm all for that. But I just have a sneaking suspicion that a lot of guys will just do what they need to do to make that test look good and be hitting the gas hard when whenever that test is cleared, right? So
see, my thing was just to get, to at least to get the guys to get checked. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we don't want to know what the result is. I just want you to know what the result is so you can make the ultimate decision of what you want to do. Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of guys now, a lot of the guys I train and people I talk to, they're way more diligent when it comes to blood work than I ever was. Or guys I knew back in the day who competed ever were. They're, after every show, they're getting their blood work done. They're seeing what issues are. They're trying to clear those issues up, get these levels back down, whatever it is, to try and keep the status quo of what they deem to be an acceptable normal or an acceptable launching point if they're going to do something again. And I think that's the great way to go about it. But again, there'll always be those outliers who are just
hardcore meatheads.
See what happens. It's not a smart way to be. I am not promoting that at all. It's just human nature, right? Yeah. Some people are just you'll see guys who play football. They tell you not to hit with your helmet anymore or lead with your head. You're still going to see guys fucking cracking dudes.
Right.
They get off on that, right? So it's you're always going to have those people. Yeah. And you can educate them, and in football, we penalize you if you lead with the head. Guys are still doing it. Yeah. They're still cracking people, right? So
yeah. Well, I think because of the last, all those cases that we had to go through in the past couple of months, a lot of people probably a little bit more aware and started to who wants to go young? So hopefully,
if anything positive came from that, which you can't even find a positive, but at least maybe it will open up some people's eyes, you know what I mean, and kind of be man, this guy was my age, or he's 2 years older than me, and I'm doing what he's doing, or I'm at his level. I need to fucking get myself looked at. I need to make sure I'm not going to end up in the same position the next year or in a month from now. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's good to have it's good to create a little healthy fear and get people fucking getting their shit together. You know what I mean? I wish someone, when I was younger, when I was doing stuff, was hey man, take it easy, or pull back a little bit. I thank God.
You're the one now that could do that to others. The guys coming up. So let's say, do you still accept clients for work at the gym, or are you maxed out? Or because I want to.
No, I'm always available to help anybody, and I get a lot of messages. A lot of time, people are like, "Oh, do you train normal people, or you train like
Absolutely,
guys that are monsters?"
absolutely.
It's like I love training. I enjoy training people, and I enjoy teaching people. And it's a lot of the time, to be very blunt with honest with people, a lot of the times I'm working on the same shit that I'm working on with a pro guy as I am with a beginner.
Right.
Because and to be honest, the beginner or the intermediate or the guy who's just trying to look good is sometimes easier to work with because they're not so programmed.
Exactly.
So it's like, don't ever think that like someone who wants to reach out to me and learn how to train or come get a session, it's like, there's never like some stigma of like, oh, he only works with the big guys. Like I work with anybody who wants to learn and enjoys working hard and likes being at the gym, because those are the people that are fun to train, right? So,
right. Let us know how people can get in contact with you.
I'm on Instagram at Big Mike Van Wyck. You guys can. I talk to a ton of people there. Apparently, you're not supposed to. People tell me all the time, don't it? If you start getting all these DMs, don't answer. I answer everybody, or I try to.
Really?
I don't. Yeah, like I at least try and say what's up, or if someone asks me a question, like, you know what I mean? Because like, and I like to like get a lot of people who have questions about form or like stuff that I've shown in videos, and they're like, how is this, or what does this look like? I'll try and like get back to them, and just because I feel like it's this industry, and like you can attest to this too. It's just like, I don't want to be like some guy who's like out here for some money grab. Mm-hmm. I enjoy this sport, and I want to see people do well. And that's kind of why I launched my YouTube channel. It's like, people are like, oh, you need to do this and charge for this and set up this program and charge people for these like one-off programs where they follow it. It's like, I don't want to prescribe a program to you because I don't know how you move. I don't know what you do. If I tell you to do like dumbbell presses, and then I tell you to do cable flies and do all this stuff, I don't know how you're doing it.
Right.
So that's not a reflection of me, because that's not how I move. That's not how I teach. That's not anything. I'm just telling you to do. Well, you could go in Men's Health and cut out a fucking program.
Right.
And just do it, because that's all it is at the end of the day.
You rather show them in person so you can show them how the movement is supposed to be executed.
That's not very smart on my part, because that's not very scalable. But at the end of the day, it's like, it doesn't sit well with me.
Gotcha.
To be like, oh, here's a program, do this. It's like, yeah, if I've helped you before, or I can see every movement that you do in that program, and I can adjust it to like something I think might be better for you. If you do it perfectly fine, then go off and run with it.
Right.
But it's like, for me to put my name behind something, I want to like know that you know what you're doing, right? Or like, it's like people coming out with like, oh, Dennis James's program for chest. It's like,
yeah,
is it though? Because if you did it with Dennis,
yeah, I feel the exact. We are literally exactly the same. You know, I feel the same way. I tell people always, you know, write you a training program. I can write you a training program, but I'm not sure you're doing it correct, even if you know what to do. You know, so it's always better to have somebody in person. But like you said, you can't scale it because you can't be in the gym 24 hours a day, teaching people how to move.
I want to pass the techniques I have, or the little things I show people, or little tips I have. That's why I want to promote it on my YouTube and get people to really tune in, so that they can. I try to explain it and teach it in a way that's easy for people to understand, and like very basic, like do this or feel this or lean this way or whatever, mm-hmm. right? So it's like, I'd rather give out that information and see people flourish and people run with it and do well and fix just what they're already doing with that. And that'll make that even more of a change for them, right? So like, I don't need you to do the back program I would give you, but I want you to do the back program you're currently doing better.
Right.
You're doing it.
See, we need more Mike Van Vicks in this world, man. You are absolutely a great addition to the sport. We need you, man, and I know there's going to be probably a few more people interested in talking to you regarding training in Canada. And I see what you do with those guys, you know, and I can see, especially Antoine, you can see he looks like he's at his all-time high right now when it comes to you know, to presenting the physique, you know, and I'm looking forward to seeing him back on stage. Yeah. I'm really, really glad we did this, man. I'm glad I got Regan to tell you to contact me so we can do this podcast, because you know
I give all the credit to the people I train this
right,
to them, right? And
exactly.
I don't take any credit for anything they do. They're not like that because of me. Like, they bust their ass, right? So
yeah,
and they don't have to listen to me. I'm just some big tattooed guy yelling at them to do shit. They can tell me to fucking hit the road, and they'll still ascend to what they're ascending to, right? So it's my pleasure and my my honor to be associated with those guys as opposed to them being associated with me. I'm very honored to be a part of them, right?
You're awesome, brother, man. I'm really glad we did this, man. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. I know you take a good time out of your day to come talk to me.
I'm running to the airport now. So
Okay. All right. I'll let you go, man. I appreciate you coming on, brother, and I'm looking forward to talking to you in the future.
All right,
and keep doing your thing, my man. Keep doing your thing, man.
I really appreciate you.
Awesome.
Dennis. Thank you, man.
Take care, bro. Bye.